Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey. On this video, I want to provide another example of the type of confusion in the dog training world by way of, always learning, okay, but never coming to a understanding as to what defines a process. Here in this video, again, did a couple prior videos by way of Bill Church. It goes by name Wow Bill. Another podcast with another balanced dog trainer on. And this dog trainer, Jonas Black, very popular on social media, has millions of followers on TikTok. Again, these are on the heels of the recent canine conference. Again, I comment on that in terms of bringing, balanced dog trainers together. But again, my point of whether it's a canine conference or a podcast, these podcasts, is you're not going to hear any of these trainers actually confront the real issue, actually connect the dots properly. All you're going to hear is this type of there's more than one way, always learning. And again, meanwhile, the dog training world is coming apart at the seams. So I play some of this video here. I'm just like, this is another 2-hour podcast of these trainers just, kind of softballing each other and propping each other up on social media, advocating this issue of what balanced dog training is. And again, I talk about why all these contradictory statements in the dog training world, such coming from guys like Robert Cabral saying, science has no place in dog training. Look at the study put out by Ivan Belanoff, all the controversy generated from that. Look at all the controversies I've profiled on my Flipping the Script series. And you have these trainers like going on and just, totally, not wanting to ask the questions, not wanting to do a proper audit, not wanting to confront what the real issue is. And meanwhile, still, marketing training as, kind of being kind of in flux or something.
Me that you work nuance, right? Dude, that's why I'm so anti-system, right? Like I'm so anti buying into systems and you do things this way and that way because
see, and this is the same messaging. Because again, I put out specific information as to what defines a process by way of an intervention, the core ingredients, influence and control. It's all out there. In fact, these trainers I've been profiling, they've been confronted with it. But again, I talk about the issue about a trade-off. Having to actually ask the questions these trainers should have asked at the beginning, and not wanting to buy in the system. Because here's the thing: if the truth is subjective, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can continue just to market this way. Is you don't, if there's no standard, well, the standard's being propagated up is a standard based on appearances. It's totally superficial. And so it's become this type of a culture that's been created in the dog training world, this type of blame shifting on the dogs. The collateral damage of this idea that trains a learning-based exercise.
There's so many different variables in environments. Like dogs that live in apartment complexes that are reactive is a pain in the ass, right? Like apartment complexes are a pain in the ass. But you look at it, and then you wouldn't train a dog that's in an apartment complex the same way that you're going to train a dog out in rural Texas, because it's two completely different contexts. So if it comes to a systematic indoctrination in regards to the application of your craft, I think that it's really counterproductive a lot of the time. But that's why I do offer a mentorship program, but it's very reasonably priced. And we do 6 months. We do 6 months virtually, 3 months on, 1 month off, 3 months on. And what we do is we do a lot of basics, like the foundations that are just completely forgotten. And what I try to teach my mentees is concepts versus protocols. So that way they can formulate their own protocols through understanding, the basics of cognition and canine cognition in particular, because I think that that's something that's missing in the dog training world, is an understanding is even of the basic functions of the central nervous system. And I'm by no means a neuroscientist, I just know the basic functions. And ever since I learned those, it's really changed the way that I train. And it's allowed me to almost break out of classical and operant conditioning shackles, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like you work with a brain versus a theory, versus like Skinner or Pavlov. You work.
So same thing here. So by understanding all these ideas of things, okay, even the study that was put up by Ivan Belanov, the foundation for everything comes through this idea that training is a learning-based exercise. This everything's based on appearances. It does not connect the dots by way of dogs as social animals, how that ties into a dog's decision-making process. The issue about influence and control. Okay, it doesn't bring those core ingredients in that way through this idea of things. So regardless, these trainers are talking about understanding at a different level. Everything still filters through. Everything is still hardwired into this foundation by way of training as a learning-based exercise. You understand that everything's tied in that way. So we talk about, say, the 4 quadrants. Understand the 4 quadrants is a building off of, adding to this idea that, again, trains a learning-based exercise. It's about motivating dogs to respond that way, trying to firm up, trying to bring influence in by way of a negative, right, to try to firm up or build off of. But the reality of it is, the truth of it is, the idea itself, the core tenet of this ideology, is flawed at its core. So there's no way to build off a flawed idea. And so this whole issue, what's going on here in the dog training world, I understand this is why everything is, still up in the air. This is why you see these balanced dog trainers, they change their positions on the role of remote collars from week to week. There is no truly coming together. That's why, again, you see a lot of these balanced dog trainers, when a controversy such as what happened with Jeff Gelman in the Bonker situation, a lot of the balanced dog trainers piled on to Gelman along with force-free trainers. It's like throwing each other under the bus very quickly on social media.
With what's in front of you from a physiological perspective, and how you can manipulate behavior from a neurotransmission perspective. So it's pretty.
So even the word behavior, I mentioned this before. Behavior, that word is misrepresented within the framework of superficial responses.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I agree. And indeed, we are going to do a Patreon, you and I, where we get into the nuances of this. Like that's what we're
say, the whole Patreon. So this whole thing of propping each other up. This is that whole thing of how interconnected these trainers are. But it's within this whole thing that, hey, we can all kind of say what we want to say. We can put our own spin on it because, again, the truth is subjective. It's all based on appearances. So this whole thing about being able to kind of, add a little bit here or put their own little spin on it. I talk about that.
We're going to talk about on our Patreon after the conference and everything. We'll do one of these.
Because I'm by no means a neuroscientist, just so everybody, or like there are people that know this shit a lot better than me, but I'd love to share what I know, and what my mentees learned, because my body of work now isn't just what I'm able to produce, but what I'm able to get my trainers who have mentored under me to produce also, which is a way to replicate the results that I get.
To understand, this is a rigged game, ideological game.
Just super cool, but it's all done through critical thinking, right? So I kind of reteach trainers how to critically think. So
even say about critical thinking within the parameters of what this ideology represents is a joke. This isn't critical thinking. Okay, I want people to understand. Critical thinking is to actually look at all the inherent problems in the dog training world and actually ask the questions that need to be asked to actually source out the real problem. There's critical thinking.
Everybody else is always looking for the golden ticket, right? Well, the golden ticket is being smart, and the golden ticket is being creative and experiencing failure and success. And at the end of the day, none of us know what the fuck we're really doing. We're taking our best educated guess based on the experience of what's happened.
What a statement that is. Okay, this goes along. Like, none of us know what's going on. We're just taking our best guess. I mean, what a joke. I mean, this is, understand, this is where we're at in the dog training world. So the dog training world's coming apart at the seams. You have these trainers going on saying no one really knows, just we're all looking for answers. And always searching, always learning. Like I said, always learning, but never coming to an understanding of the truth. What's the truth? The training's not a learning-based exercise. Once a relationship problem is underway, it's a intervention. The truth of, what defines a method, it comes to a intentional interaction-based approach. It reconciles those two core ingredients, influence and control, into a process. That's what defines change. That's what reveals and defines. But you never hear these traders say it, because to do so, to actually confront it, is for the dominoes to all come tumbling down. Period. Thanks for watching.